If you need to report your carbon footprint for any reason at all and you want it to be right, then you need to make sure it aligns with the core principles of GHG inventory reporting as set out in the GHG protocol, the standard for carbon reporting. This is the third in a series of videos where I run through all of the principles from the GHG protocol and cover off 2 additional ones that are added by the UK Environmental Reporting Guidelines. Hi there, my name's Kev Cooling from Hut22, your carbon and facilitation expert. Look, if you don't want to watch the rest of this video and just want to get straight into talking to an expert about any aspect of carbon reporting, find the link in the description of this video and book yourself a free call with me today. Otherwise, let's cover off the last 3 principles. Last up from the GHG protocol is accuracy. So let's just read the definition from the protocol. Ensure that the quantification of GHG emissions is systematically neither over nor under actual emissions as far as can be judged, and that uncertainties are reduced as far as practicable. Achieve sufficient accuracy to enable users to make decisions with reasonable assurance as to the integrity of the reported information. Hopefully it goes without saying that you want to make your GHG inventory reporting as accurate as you can. And that's really all there is to this principle. You need to make sure the measurements, the estimates, the calculations, each of those things that goes into your reporting is as accurate as it can be. You also want to report on the things you've done to improve accuracy over time. By sharing that information, you'll show stakeholders that you recognise the importance of accuracy and you're doing something about it. One thing it's worth remembering is there's often a trade-off between accuracy and completeness, one of the other principles that we've talked about. If you were to only report the emissions associated with your electricity use using metered data, for example, barring something unusual happening, you could be pretty confident that's going to be a solid baseline, but it would hardly be complete. As you add more and more emission sources to your reporting in an effort to be as complete as possible, it's very likely that the overall accuracy of your inventory is going to go down, especially as you start to include those harder to quantify things like Scope 3 emissions. So here what you need to do is fall back on one of the other principles that we talked about, transparency. Be absolutely clear about the completeness of your baseline, but also the impact that's having on the overall accuracy of the reporting. Okay, so let's cover off those other 2 principles that are added in by the UK Environmental Reporting Guidelines. Firstly, quantitative. Now, the guidelines say that KPIs should be measurable, which of course makes sense. Remember the M in the SMART targets acronym. Having measurable KPIs allows you to track progress over time and identify correlation, if not causation, of the interventions that you're implementing in order to reduce your emissions. Again, thinking about the transparency principle, it's always best to have a narrative with each KPI which explains what it's measuring and why. Lastly, comparable. We know that under the consistent principle, our reporting in the current year should be directly comparable to the last year because it uses exactly the same approach. This means that stakeholders can be confident that they're comparing like-for-like information when they look at your current reporting to any previous reporting you've done in the past. The guidelines also point out another very useful point here. Not only should your reporting be internally comparable, by which I mean your reporting this year should be able to be compared directly with reporting in any of your previous years, but also that you're supporting stakeholders to compare your performance against that of other similar organisations. It wouldn't be hard to find companies that throw a little obfuscation into their reporting just so that it can easily be compared. But what you should be doing, again, transparency, is using commonly accepted KPIs and metrics that are widely used in your industry or your sector so that you can be compared against others in that sector. So there it is. Over the course of these 3 videos, we've talked about the 5 principles of carbon reporting set out in the GHG protocol and the 2 additional ones that are set out in the UK Environmental Reporting Guidelines. My name's Kev Cooling from Hut22. If you'd like to talk to me about anything to do with carbon, then go ahead, find the link in the description of this video and book a free call with me today.